Hello and welcome to Sports Today. Yesterday I had said this. That it will be important to talk to Sunil Chhetri. It will be important to talk to Sunil Chhetri because he's a real leader. Sunil, according to me, is a real leader of men. A fantastic guy, and a real talisman. You know, most importantly, the way he keeps himself grounded is a serious tribute to the way. That's why he's a real leader of men. We had a long conversation today, and trust me, every time you speak to this man, you come back impressed in the way he conducts himself as a leader, in the way he keeps himself focused on the job at hand. And that is why, for me, he's a well and true, a real role model in every sense of imagination. I asked him everything. I know that it is an unfair comparison with Leo Messi. I know that. But one had to put that debate to rest by asking that question. And I said that to Sunil. So from the comparison with Messi and the number of goals to leading India to a hot and cold campaign to the fact that, where is Indian football headed? Who after Sunil Chhetri? All these questions were asked. So without further ado, and let me state here that Sunil, 17 years at playing for India, at the top of Indian club football in several ways. First, as a young kid entering the Mohun Bagan ground in Calcutta, to becoming the talisman for Bengaluru FC, and there, the professionalism that the club has brought in thanks to Parth Jindal and his team. Sunil Chhetri has been a real role model and influence for Indian football, and you will know why once you listen to this interview and this show. So Trisha, can I have the first clip please, where I actually asked Sunil on longevity. Tendulkar 24 years, Sunil Chhetri 17 years. Again, I'm not comparing at all, but all I'm saying is it takes enormous passion to be at the top of your game for this long a period of time. Tendulkar, Chhetri, Mithali Raj. That is why they are very special athletes. The Leander Pace, Sania Mirza, who will again play the Olympics, started very early. These are Vishwanathan Anand. These are athletes that we need to really look at, admire, and appreciate. Sunil Chhetri on longevity. The first clip, please. First question, longevity. So many, that is why I keep talking about you, about Sachin. The longevity, the commitment, and the passion, even after so many years, is the same, if not more. Explain that.
Yeah, it becomes a little bit easier, Boryada, when you're playing for your country because it's an absolute dream. I have got a very blessed life, but nothing comes close to the fact that I play for my country. I do not take it for granted, and it's an absolute honor and privilege. I'm not just throwing on big words, but I literally mean it. So whatever inch, whatever chance I get to play for my country, I grab it with both my hands, and I try my best to do whatever I can. That is why the hunger and motivation is still there, the same as when I was 19, 20, when I played for the country for the first time. And now also a fact adds in that it is not going to stay for long. So I try and grasp every bit of it. I try and stay positive and enjoy everything because I know for a fact it's not going to stay for long.
The second question that I asked of Sunil is the issue of motivation. Because when you are playing at the top of your game for a good decade and a half and more, how is it that you turn up every single day of your life with the same level of motivation and keep pushing the bar? It's not easy. It is not easy. He's got a great life. He's earned enough money, fame. He's got serious corporate backing. He's a role model in every sense, has a great family. So to turn up despite all of the lures of a good life takes a huge amount of doing. So here's Sunil Chhetri talking about this issue. What keeps him motivated? Take a look. To keep motivating yourself every single time you step out, is that difficult? Is it getting more and more tough?
I try to keep the noise a little bit outside and separate because you will not be able to function. If I keep thinking about the expectations and what people think or want or have an opinion, or you can't function, especially with our era now, which is a social media era, where everything and anything that you think you can post and people can comment and read. You cannot function. So I keep that thing aside, and I just think about simpler stuff, which is how can I improve myself and what can I do for my team, be it my national team or the club. And it is a little bit more simpler than I learned it a long back when the emergence of social media started, that you cannot please everyone. You are not a sweet potato that is liked by everyone. So it's all right. So a lot of people ask me this, Boryada, ki how it is to be Sunil Chhetri, or why it's expectation. I said I don't. It's just simple. Go to training, try to be better than what I was yesterday. Go to a match and give everything that I've got. You're not going to win every game. You don't. You're going to lose someone. You're going to miss stupid chances. You're going to score some goals. That's how life is. Some days going to be good. Some days going to be bad. But trust the process and keep going at it.
There are quite a few questions already that have come. So let me just quickly take some before I move on to the next question with Sunil. Quite a few questions. Anirban Rai, hello Boryada, do you think comparing Sunil with the likes of Messi, CR7 fair, keeping in mind? Hear him. Anirban, no, it's not a fair comparison. And that's why I had to ask him the question to put the debate to rest. Second question from you, still depending on Sunil for goals. For me, it's a worry, and that's why I asked him again. So here the full interview on Irban, that what's the next generation looking like. Rishabh Chatterjee, when will you do a show on Jadeja? Rishabh, every time I keep saying this, that for me, sports today is a multi-sporting platform, and the fellow we are celebrating today is less to none. So ask me this question when I'm doing a cricket show. I will absolutely celebrate Ravi Jadeja, who's a personal favorite. But today it's a special show on Sunil and Indian football. Let's stick to that. Sunil Chhetri, Sunil is very important, but we have to give time to forwards like List and Ishan Manbir. Absolutely, we will and we should hear him talk about these guys later on. Unfair comparison, yes. We should sincerely target top 10 in Asia. Sandeep Chhetri, we must. We must. Green Room, Teddy Bear and Achatta Galo Koi. That belongs to my daughter. I think she's taken it away. Why hasn't India overcome the knockouts of ICC? Again, that's a cricket question. I'm not going to take a single cricket question today. Legend Sunil Chhetri, absolutely. Sunil Chhetri is from my school, Obunindra Mundal. At least you've done something good. Thanks for doing a show on football. Always will. Appreciate. And by the way, we've got a para taekwondo qualification for Tokyo today. This is important. Every sports person who's making Tokyo important, please check social media, how our wrestlers are doing. It's Ravi has already made it to the semi-finals of his competition. So in Poland. So India is actually excelling in multi-sport, and that's why he's very, very important. Compare Chhetri. Boria sir, your views on Chinese company. I think IOA has taken the call. Chinese company is not the sponsor. They're looking for a different sponsor. That's where the matter ends. Serious concerns because no replacement for Sunil. Absolutely, that's important. But I think Manveer, Liston, and these people, Ishan Pandita, these are good players. We have seen Manveer excel for ATK Mohun Bagan, for example, this season. These are important players who are coming up the ranks, so we've got to back them. They need the experience. So you will hear Sunil talk about it. So let's go to the next one, Trisha. Can I have the next clip on his feeling every time he steps out for India? For me, that is what makes the Sunil Chhetri legend. His contribution for Indian football, wearing that India armband, stepping out for India. Take a look. Sunil, just explain to me, when you step out for India, captain of India, just explain that feeling to me. Each time you step out, each 90 minutes you want to preserve, each minute is precious. None of us will do that. I will analyze you, and that's as close as I can get. But explain that to me, because sitting backstage, analyzing you, I have goosebumps every time that national anthem is played. Every time you score for India, you must be in that zone. Explain that.
Well, when the match starts, Borida, I close. Then I'm not thinking anything. It's just about the game. If you are losing, what can I do? If you are winning, how can we stay in the same position? How do I make the runs? It's okay if I missed it. Don't think about it. Make that run. Don't shout. Try to be nice to the other ones. Sprint more. All small, basic technical stuff. I'm not thinking about any other pressure other than the game. What I do very religiously is before the game, I don't read stuff about the game or about myself or about my players. That is something that I do very religiously. I anyways do not spend a lot of time on social media reading stuff that I don't have to read. I do have different topics that I like to read about. I read about them. But as far as my performances are concerned and my critics as well as well-wishers are concerned, I keep them away before a game. I don't read them because at the end of the day, you are human and sometimes it might affect you, which is not needed, which is not going to help you, good or bad. Even if somebody tells you, oh, you're the best thing that happened to India, it's not going to help you on the game. Or if somebody says you're the worst striker ever who played for India, it's not going to help me. So I try to keep that away and take the game as it is. If you add in so many emotions कि आप कंट्री के लिए खेल रहे हो, इतने मैच हो गए, ये वाला डिफिकल्ट मैच है, ये अच्छा मैच है, यहाँ जीतना important है, you will not be able to function.
The next question was the inevitable one. I mean, to put that unfair comparison to rest. So I had to ask him that. Here's Sunil Chhetri on the comparison.
मेसी के साथ कंपैरिजन लेके तो सोशल मीडिया में सब पागलपंती चल रहा है. मुझे भी पता है ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा अनफेयर है उनके तरफ से भी, आपकी तरफ से भी, बट मुझे ये क्वेश्चन पूछना है क्योंकि 70 प्लस गोल्स इज समथिंग ह्यूमंगस. इट्स अ ग्रेट अचीवमेंट. सो योर थॉट्स ऑन दैट?
See, my thought is there is no comparison whatsoever. People who understand football, and I think you do, I do, and a lot of people who do, they know there is no comparison as far as the players are concerned. Sunil Chhetri and Lionel Messi, no comparison. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of players who are better than me in the world, and all of them are fans of Messi. So now you know the comparison.
Now to my favorite part of the interview. While this comparison is completely unfair, what is important is the discipline, the hard work where this man actually matches anyone in the world. And I have no qualms in saying that the hard work Sunil Chhetri puts in, day out, has been doing so for a good decade and a half and more, is, in comparison to anybody in the world, right up there. His discipline, his stamina, his determination, and of course, the kind of self-righteousness in a sense. He's a real role model in that sense. Hear him talk about hard work, fitness, and diet. My favorite part of the interview. Take a listen.
The discipline of Sunil Chhetri, the fitness cult of Sunil Chhetri, the diet of Sunil Chhetri, and the determination of Sunil Chhetri.
That's where I'm really strict on myself, Buryada. That's where I don't take any chances. That's where I don't want to lack, because that is something which is very easy. You might not be as talented or as good or playing for such country or such club, but you can always work hard. That's the bare minimum, especially the place that I am in. I live a blessed life in such a big country. I'm one in 1.4 billion people. I've been playing for my country for 17 years. I've been captaining my country for 10 years. It's an absolute dream. No one has it. No one in the country ever has played more games than me. It's an absolute honor and a privilege. The least that I expect for myself is to work really, really hard, to turn up in training and give my best. It is not difficult. I mean, I look at my life. I just have to train two hours in the morning, 1 hour in the evening. That's it. Just relax and do nothing. Your finances, your name, your fame, everything is taken care of. You can do anything you want. You can buy anything you want. You know what I mean? The life is so blessed. So the bare minimum is make sure that I work really, really hard. And in that context, I do not like any player in the world going surpass me.
And my favorite Sunil Chhetri dialogue, the what you eat, bolo yaar, I love that dialogue.
Yeah, I told you once that I generally don't eat things that I don't need. And I learned it quite early because with our civilization as human beings being so evolved, we have food in abundance. It never happened before, thousands years before. But now we have food in abundance. And we eat because we are happy, we eat because we are sad, we eat because we are bored, we eat because of any reason. I try to stay away from it. I try to eat what I need, what my body needs. And there's a lot of information around, not only for me, but everyone, that what your body needs. I take that information to account. I have some experts that I talk to, and I formulate a diet, and I eat most of the times what I need. Sometimes because I'm human, I cheat, but I keep that to bare minimum, and I try to eat as much as possible as to what I need, and it gives you magical returns. People do not understand the power of eating right, sleeping well, and drinking a lot of water. Simple stuff, but it gives you magic.
Fantastic. In fact,
You
I
know,
have
I'll give you an anecdote. I went to a school and I saw the kids looking at me that is going to give us some divine formulas of being good in life because wherever he is. And I told them that, you know what, make sure that you eat right, you sleep more than 8-9 hours, and drink a lot of water. And they were looking at me as to, "Ye kya bol raha hai yaar?" You know, we were thinking it's good. I said, listen, these three is what is going to give you magic. It's as simple as that. And no matter if you're a kid or whoever, anyone who wants to improve, these three basic things are going to give you huge dividends.
This part was really, really enjoyable for me. I mean, very, very enjoyable. Let me take another few questions. A lot of questions have come before I go to the next part again. Uh, okay, so as young players, Anirban again, as young players are expected to take more responsibilities while playing for India than ISL, where clubs generally depend more on foreigners, added responsibilities affecting their game. No, I mean, rather, added responsibilities should inspire them to push the bar. That's how you excel. Or when do you feel you can hear India's national anthem in FIFA World Cup? Really tough. I mean, I would want that to happen ASAP. If World Cup becomes 48 teams, that's if we become top 10 in Asia, we can then realistically start dreaming of bigger pastures. But we've got to be there first. Asian Cup last tournament. I don't want to ask somebody a retirement question when he's still contributing in the manner he is, committed and passionate. Why do I ask him a retirement question? Aurithro Pathak, how are you consistently among the top four? How are we now consistently among top four countries in Asia in athletics at the Asian Games, yet not physical enough? See, this is an important question. We are not in the top 10 of Asian football, and frankly, in athletics. Uh, if you see the Asian Games, even in the 1980s, our women, be it the PT Ushas, the Shiny Wilsons, have all done very well. So it's not as if that we haven't. In football, in the 1960s, we're in the top four, top five, because we beat Korea in the Asian Games final. 1970, we won a bronze. So it has steadily declined from there, except a few tournaments like the Mardeka in the 1980s. So we've got to sort of be up there. And in athletics also, in certain events, we've done very well, not in, say, men's events, who except Neeraj Chopra is an athlete who is in the top four, top five. We will struggle, and especially if you are taking the global stage. Except Neeraj, I do not see a male athlete, a track and field person, who is right up there. So these are things you've got to keep in mind. Can India ever qualify? Of course, yes. I mean, what do you mean ever qualify? That's the goal. You've got to push the bar, and you've got to be there. Devashish Ghosh, Chhetri or Baichung, who's your favorite? Difficult. I mean, and impossible to say who is your favorite like that. I mean, as a football fan, I mean, X or Y. That kind of question is always hard. I mean, Baichung at his best, incredible striker. Sunil, very different, and again the longevity. In terms of impact for India, I would say Sunil is a leader who has had more impact, and in terms of a leader, you can rate Sunil higher. But as a player, Baichung at his best was fabulously good. Okay. Okay, so Aurithro Pathak, good question. Okay, what's the other one? Naresh Naik Sibi. Hockey, we will do about hockey at some point in time. Sri Shekhar is an elite athlete. Aurithro, yes. Can he win us a medal? We've got to see. I mean, we've got to see how he excels and consistently. If you see recent performances, 840 will easily be touched. 862 has been done recently. So can India really cross the 850 mark? If they do, only then can we realistically think of a world medal. These are important considerations. Do about badminton, we will. Absolutely, we will. Shrimatch, everyone tells me he's a good coach, but ultimately performance is where We have to judge him. And this has been a hot and cold campaign, brings me to my next question. Here, Sunil Chhetri on the campaign will allow us to talk more about Igor match. Here's Sunil Chhetri on the campaign.
India's campaign. Yes, we've beaten Bangladesh. We were competitive against Qatar. Your thoughts on the overall campaign? And last time we spoke, you were very gung-ho about Indian football going ahead. Thoughts on that?
A very hot and cold campaign of these qualifiers. And the cold part, no one else to blame but us players ourselves. How do you clarify a performance like what we did in 82nd minutes, still 82nd minutes against Oman and the Qatar game to what we did against Bangladesh in Salt Lake? Not demeaning Bangladesh, but how do you answer that? There is no answer. Just not turning up, not doing what you should and could have done, and that's why I called it a hot and cold campaign. And it is not nice. It is not welcomed. And I've told this to the players. I tell it to myself. The bare minimum is to turn up and to fight. What we did against Qatar, it wasn't easy to the eye. We couldn't pass properly, but it was hard work. It wasn't easy to defend against them, 10 men. Even the goal that they scored was a scuffle. So when you work really hard, football games are like that. It's not easy to score. And that's the bare minimum we got to do. Even if you're playing against Qatar or Bangladesh, turn up and fight. Then at least you sleep well. None of us slept well after the Salt Lake fiasco happened. I can call it fiasco because we should have won the game. And especially when Calcutta gives you 50,000 plus people, you've got to give them at least bare minimum a hard-working performance. We didn't do it, us players. Same happened with Afghanistan away. So that's where the cold performances came in. The 80 minutes in Guwahati was good, brilliant. Qatar was a high. That's how you can do. And that's why I say to the boys that a country like us who wants to improve, we got to turn up every game. Results will come. Some days you're going to lose even after playing well, but you got to play well and turn up every game.
See, that's what it's all about. I mean, if as the boss of Indian football, as manager, Igor match has to bring in consistency. You cannot have a day against Bangladesh like the one in Kolkata. If you really want to excel, even on a bad day, you've got to be able to beat such teams. Against Qatar, Oman, you've done well. But again, if you fail against Bangladesh, even if it's one game, it will dent your campaign and it will dent your credibility and stature. And that's what Sunil was talking about. And that's what I think is expected from the coach or manager, because you have to get that right in Indian football. For far too long, we have suffered as a result of this. The next question I asked Sunil was about the next gen. I mean, who after Sunil? Will a Manveer step up, a Liston step up, an Ishan step up? What is he seeing? What is his thought about the next generation of Indian footballers? Is he optimistic? Here's Sunil Chhetri.
Are you seeing the next gen, the Manveers of the world? Are you seeing them improve? Are you seeing the same hunger and passion? What about the next gen?
Yes, I see the hunger and it makes me really happy. I see the hunger in the boys. I see them eating well. I see them taking care of themselves. I see that they're optimistic. They are a little bit, it'll come with experience. They're not very stable and comfortable right now, but it'll come with experience. But rest, all the other attributes I see on them, and I'm really hopeful. This is a really good batch. The next gen leaders like Gurpreet, Sandesh, and Raulin are very good examples. They're all very demanding, and good times are going to follow. I really believe that. The only one thing we got to do is give more games to the national team. It is paramount. It is very important to try and give as many games as possible to the national team.
Okay, before I sort of play out the final question that I asked him, because Sunil is a COVID survivor and his whole family was down with COVID. So he's spoken at length about how real the virus is. He's spoken at length about the importance of vaccination and how he suffered and he doesn't want others to suffer. Very important message. Let me give you my summary of Indian football. Indian football has definitely progressed. With ISL, we have had significant progress with professionalism coming in, thanks to the ISL, with clubs like Bengaluru FC, ATK Mohun Bagan now, Goa. Significant amount of money has also been poured in. Professional structures have come into Indian football. Opportunities have opened up. And now ISL reducing a foreigner will empower Indian footballers more. The standard has to improve. The standard will improve. And there is Sunil Chhetri's contribution has been no less than anyone else's. I mean, in cricketing terms, you can compare him with a Tendulkar or a Ganguly or a Mithali Raj in the women's game, and that's how, or a Jhulan, and that's how important Sunil has been. How long will it take for Indian football? Tough question to answer. But if you really see the way the ISL has impacted, I'm pretty optimistic. But there again comes the question, with the facilities we now have, with the kind of players we now have, you have to be able to come to the top 7, 8, top 10 in Asia as soon as possible, because then you can catapult yourself, you can push the bar, and then you can start pushing the global stage. Very, very important. We have entrepreneurs, we have corporate support, we have a structure now, we have all of that in place now. So the next big push is what now awaits Indian football. I remain optimistic because I've seen how the Indian Super League, for example, has evolved from day one, from that match in Calcutta, 3-0, Borja Fernandez, Fikru scoring for 80K, to where it has come now. Very competitive, compelling football. But again, we need consistency there. So that's my take on Indian football. When India will play the World Cup is a billion-dollar question, which I think nobody will be able to answer. But we remain in hope, we live in hope, and that's how our Olympic sport has now improved and has evolved into a structure. See the number of athletes we now have at the Olympics and Paralympics, and the number of disciplines that India now will be participating in. Clearly gives you hope about Indian sport. Final question to Sunil was about COVID, his thoughts. He's a survivor. Here's Sunil Chhetri.
Sunil Chhetri, the leader, the statesman, your thoughts on COVID and vaccination, because you speaking out in favor of vaccination will get people there to get that jab into the body, and we collectively overcoming this sense of despondency, gloom, and negativity. Thoughts?
See, the first part of the answer is I got COVID, my wife got COVID, my whole family got COVID. Some of them struggled really bad. Thankfully, we didn't have to suffer the huge loss, but we all struggled. So whoever you are, if you haven't got vaccinated, please get it. Please get it. Whoever you are, please wear a mask when you're going out. It is not a joke. My CT level of COVID was 13. I was shivering 5 nights at night, and I thought I'm the fittest in the country. It doesn't see who you are. It doesn't see anything. If it gets you, it'll get you. We have lost lives, many of them. Do not take it as a joke, please. No matter who you are, please abide by all the rules. All the doctors, all the government agencies, they're giving you small, simple rules. Follow them. Please follow them. It is very, very important. And the second part, what the silver lining was for me, Boryada, is I started a campaign where I said I'm going to give my Twitter account to all the people who are working on the field. There are so many heroes amongst us who left everything, went on the field and helped so many people. It was outstanding. You're sitting in a room, you're thinking, you have done few donations here and there, you have done this, and you feel good. But then suddenly you see all these heroes who are doing extraordinary work. That tells you, get inspired. There are so many out there who have left everything and helping people out. That's the hope we have. That's what, as a community, we got to strive to be. And it's simple. It's simple. Help as much as you can. And we're going to be a better community. And I know it took a very bad thing, a very horrible thing like COVID to tell us this, but going forward, we got to understand this. We're all together in this, no matter who you are. Help a little if you can. And that's all it is about.
That's all it's about. All the best for the 15th, Sunil. All the best for the 15th. And what you've just heard, that's why he's a real life hero. I don't say that for many. He will be one. He's already one for me. He will be one, because ultimately what he will be known by is how good a human being he is. And you've just heard why he is one. Sunil, all the very best to you. Enjoy every moment. Every moment that you're on that park wearing that blue jersey. That's what it is all about. Everyone dreams. You have fulfilled your dream. More power to you. We'll keep watching, keep celebrating, and keep talking to you. Nilanjan, thank you very much for making this possible. Thank you very much, Sunil. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Boryada. Stay safe, everyone. Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed the show. I loved talking to you and bringing it to you. Plenty of exclusives coming your way on Sports Today next few days. Support the platform. This is your platform.